Welcome, everybody, to another episode and level 78 of the Sandbox Gamers Podcast, a podcast where three vidgets, sort of, meet weekly to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of vidya. Thank you so much for joining us. I am your co-host with the most. This is... I'll explain why I'm laughing in a second. I'm your co-host with the most, Wonder Rob, coming at you live, semi-live, that is, from Southern California. And on the line with me are two of my best Arizona friends in the metaverse. The Freddy Fazbear of our podcast, Vactor.
Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Waka, waka, waka.
I don't think you know who Freddy Fazbear is.
I don't. I just learned about who he was today.
All right. And the Mike Schmidt of our pod, the always angry JeffW II. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, this is some bull. Don't ever talk about me like that.
Oh, thanks, Jeff. Classic angry Jeff. All right. I got to let people know that wasn't really Jeff.
What?
That was just a spot-on impression of JeffW because JeffW partied a little too hard last night. He had a little too much of Grandpa's cough medicine, if you catch my drift, and he is nursing a hangover. So this episode will be 10% less angry than it usually is because JeffW is he might even still be drunk, Vactor. But I'll tell you what,
Jeff is blaming on the goose. Got you feeling loose. That's what he's doing right now.
So here's the thing. We're going to call him because he might wake up and he might join the pod mid-pod. So Vactor's got the phone ready. All right, he's going to put him. We're going to call him. We're going to see if we can get him on the line. Because last night he did say he would try to make it for the pod, but he was drunk. Let's see, is the mic picking it up? I hope so. Come on, Jeff. Jeff. Okay, if it goes to voicemail, you got to leave him a voicemail.
Call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
He didn't even make a customized voicemail.
Please record your message.
Lazy.
When you have finished recording, you may hang up.
All right, Jeff. We are live. Say what's up, Jeff.
Jeff, we're recording. He can't hear me, though.
Jeff, we're recording. You can't hear Rob, but we're recording, Jeff. All right. This will be Jeff's segment for this week. I'm always angry. That's my secret, Rob. I'm always angry. He's going to be so mad when he hears that.
So Jeff may or may not show up to this episode. Now, he can hop in if he ever wakes up, if he hasn't, suffered a death via alcohol poisoning. He can come visit us.
I hope Jeff's still alive.
Wouldn't it be terrible if he died and we're just ragging on him? Oh, but it would get the views up. It'd get those views up. So it's really 50-50. So thank you for your sacrifice, Jeff. We appreciate it. Now, maybe, just maybe, we'll do it. We'll keep the JeffW impressions in because we both know JeffW well enough to know what he'd say about things. You think you know me? You can't just say what I say. I'm JeffW. Metal Gear Solid.
We need to have a Jeff little thing that I can put in here.
I wish we had like a JeffW puppet, like a little stuffed Muppet that we could pull up. Anyway, and I'm Bonnie. Wait, isn't Bonnie a girl? I forgot that was a script. I'm not talking about my first high school girlfriend. Oh, no, that sound would be appropriate for my first high school girlfriend. Okay, so we've got a lot to talk about, everybody. So let's see here. I'm thrown off because I'm used to Jeff bantering with me, and he's not.
Well, you got to
here.
tell him what Jeff is.
Oh, that's right. JeffW is always DTF, drunk, but taking a fucking dump. So That's Jeff
It
W.
rhymed.
Right now. So, R.I.P. Jeff W. Our thoughts go out to you. You know what? We took it off the agenda, but I still want to talk about it as a punishment to Jeff W. So let me ask you this before we get into the news. Jeff W gets to miss out on this, and we get to decide definitively.
Oh, yeah.
Are the Spider-Man games better? Or let me rephrase the question. Is the Spider-Man trilogy better than the Arkham trilogy? So, you got your Arkham trilogy, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, and then you got your Spider-Man games, Spider-Man, Spider-Man Miles Morales, and Spider-Man 2. One of us on the pod, who's not me, has beaten all 6 of these games, and one of us has only beaten 5 of these games. And so I'm going to let the individual with the most experience, that's Vactor in this case, answer this question. What do you think, Vactor?
Well, they're both great series. They all have great entries, and the first entry in the series on both franchises was revolutionary. Both of them, Arkham Asylum for Batman, and then just Spider-Man, the 2018 Spider-Man. Both had something that was fresh, innovative, and they kind of set the standard for those series. Now, my first overall answer is Spider-Man. And the reason why Insomniac Spider-Man has the better trilogy is all because of Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight, being the third entry in that franchise, is the only weak game in that series. Insomniac Spider-Man does not have a weak game. Every single entry into the franchise, and I think when Spider-Man 3 comes out, it's going to be a little bit of a gray line between, do we count Miles Morales as the second game, or do we count it as almost like extended DLC? Because to me, that's the way that I kind of look at Miles. It's like a half of a game, and it's a great game, but it just isn't like a full length. If you compare it to Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, the length of time is a lot shorter. So it just feels like more like DLC. But for the purposes of this argument, if we're going to say Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and then Spider-Man 2, that trumps the Arkham series because Arkham Knight is the weak link. See, if Arkham Knight was a fantastic, amazing game, this would be a lot more difficult to kind of compare the two. But because Arkham Knight was such a disappointment, they decided to go in that direction of, hey, let's give you the Batmobile that nobody wanted. And it just was not fun to control that Batmobile at all. But it looks great.
The Batmobile on paper seemed like a good idea. But the problem with the Batmobile in Arkham Knight is that they designed Gotham City not like an actual city. You have big curvy roads going on top of each other, stacked. You can't actually get anywhere. Like if that was an actual city with that layout, you would move the next day. Be like, I can't get my Postmates. This makes no sense. So I'm gonna have to agree with you. The driving segments on paper were great, but they were not so good. And overall, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Vactor. I loved the Batman games. Arkham City, Arkham Asylum are masterpieces, in my opinion. Especially Arkham City is a masterpiece. When that game first came out, I must have beat it and played it, 3 or 4 times in a row. I was so taken by that game when it first came out. Of course, also, I wasn't married with the kid back then, so you could just play games over and over again back then. Those were the good old days. Insert sad music right now.
That, what's funny about that trilogy is it kind of mirrors the Christopher Nolan movies where, all right, Batman Begins was a great movie. Dark Knight, like the level of increase between although some people like Batman Begins better, but the Dark Knight, to me, the step up in quality was so far. And then when Dark Knight Rises came out, it was like, oh man, like you were so disappointed. And that's what Arkham Knight was. After Arkham City was so great, then it was like, this is a step down. So Spider-Man didn't have that. Spider-Man 2 is game of the year. Arkham Knight was
Already?
not game of the year.
He's already picked his game of the year, everybody. He hasn't played let's see, what's coming out this year? Fishing Wonder Simulator number 8. He hasn't even played that game yet. You guys, the Spider-Man games are fantastic. The combat in the Arkham games is very good, but I feel like the combat within the Spider-Man games is just a little more refined in terms of making you feel like the character.
Yes.
Right? Especially traversal. The traversal in the Batman games is really fun, of course. You know, you use your grappling hook, you soar over the city and you glide, but the swinging is unmatched. The feeling of swinging is unmatched in the Spider-Man games, and especially in Spider-Man 2, the glide system. I'm gliding more than I'm swinging when I'm playing Spider-Man 2. I love that feature. So overall, even though the Arkham games are great games, I'm going to have to agree with your point that the Arkham Knight just was not as good, which makes the Spider-Man trilogy the winner. Ding, ding, ding. Maybe we'll get a graphic with like two boxing gloves punching, like bang. Let's make a new segment. Jeff, get on that.
Yeah.
I'm not getting on that. My name's JeffW and I'm angry. I'm angry.
See,
I'm
he's
so
here.
angry.
Jeff didn't miss this episode.
He's just in the background. All right. Excellent. All right. So now it's time to move on to the strategy guide section. Let's see what's going on in the world of video game news this week. Take it away,
Oh,
Vactor.
yeah. Well, speaking of that Arkham series that we were just talking about, there was something that was shared and then unshared over the past couple of days. The Robert Pattinson Batsuit, which was the first update to Arkham Knight in 8 years, was added into the game October 26th. So as we're recording this 2 days ago, and then immediately removed. So they put it in. It was called the Batman Skin 2022, and the description was, "I am the shadows." But then it was immediately taken off. I don't know who was able to find it real quick and see that it was on there, but everybody's reporting that it was available as an update on the Epic Games Store only. It did not appear on PlayStation, Xbox, or Steam, so it was only
Wow.
on Epic.
Yeah, who is that
so-
one person who was playing Batman Arkham Knight? Or the one person who saw it, and then also the one individual who coincidentally has it installed on his computer. Right now.
It might be JeffW. It's very possible it could be JeffW.
Do you
But
think
some
he wasn't
theories-
drinking? He was actually playing Batman all night?
Yes, that's what it was. Some theories are suggesting that the free update might have something to do with the upcoming release of the Batman Arkham trilogy, which is set to arrive on the Nintendo Switch later this year. Rob, I know you've been chomping at the bit to play Arkham Knight on your Switch.
No. As a matter of fact, no. I feel like the Arkham trilogy. Hold on. It's early in the morning, everybody. I'm still stuffy. I feel like the Arkham trilogy will make my Nintendo Switch blow up. Like it will explode in my hands. And so I do not have any interest in playing that.
Yeah. The big difference, I think, in his suit is that, like, the neck is like really tiny and then the ears are like really pointy. So that would be the Pattinson suit. If anybody's not familiar with the Robert Pattinson Batman suit, that's what it would be looking like in the Arkham series. So I'm very interested to see, because obviously they have the assets, they have created it, it exists. So we are going to get it at some point. I can't see them releasing it and then pulling it back and then never releasing it again. So it's just a matter of time when that comes out. But will it get Rob to fire up Arkham Knight after all these years?
No. No, it
also-
will not. Especially Arkham Knight. Now, if it was Arkham City, maybe I would consider it. But not Arkham Knight. unfortunately. Sorry, Robert Battenbat or whatever your name is. You're not getting my money today.
Yeah. And
Take
it's not
that.
like there's a DVD release coming out. Like the Batman's already been released, so they're not timing it for that. So yeah, what are they possibly holding back for? Just get it to us. Give it to us. Give it to us now. All right. Well,
All right.
also speaking of Spider-Man, we talked about Spider-Man as well. There is an absurd glitch that happens where and I actually witnessed this firsthand, not myself, but I saw this happen to someone else, where you turn into a white block. And so your character model is specifically a white block as you're going around fighting. There's been a lot of weird glitches on this Spider-Man game that I've been noticing. My playthrough, luckily, the only issues that I've had was the game just completely reset. It just went all the way back to the home screen.
Really?
And yeah, it forced me to go back into the game, having to start up from the menus. It didn't save cloud save or anything. That's the only glitches I've had. I haven't had any of these white cubes, or there was another Venom one I saw, but there's a bunch of footage of people fighting as white cubes.
Look at this. There's a little video. I guess this is more for the the video watchers rather than the audio. This little cube just swinging through the city. Look how cute the little cube is.
And there's even little web lines that are going to him.
Like he does little flips, but you can't tell because it's just a cube. He just swinging around.
Everybody was like, making jokes. The cube outfit, I unlocked the cube suit. Everybody's been laughing about that. But yeah, very strange at this, this huge release that we've got. This funny, the Amazing Spider Cube.
Yeah, people are making little comic book covers parodying it,
things like that. So, have you experienced any glitches in Spider-Man 2 on your playthrough?
No, so I'm still playing it. I still haven't gotten to the black suit or anything. I'm spending all my time doing the side missions, like I've said last week. My most recent run has been saving the environment with Spider-Man, looking for plant combinations, and friggin' pretending to fly a bee drone around. I've been doing a lot of that lately. But I haven't run into any glitches in my playthrough. The only thing that I've run into, and these aren't glitches, these are just design choices that
he's here.
Oh, everybody
he's here.
He's here. Stop the presses. JeffW.
I showed up because I got Vactor's call and I kind of woke up, and then I saw Mark Vibbert in the chat tell Jeff to get out of the bathroom. So I'm here to stone cold stun his ass.
What?
And fucking
Jeff's
fuck you,
back.
Mark.
We're
Fuck
not
you, the
live.
bathroom.
We're
What
not
you talking
live.
about? I'm not in the goddamn bathroom. I'm up now.
He's up.
Bitches.
He's just in time. He's just in time. Oh, put the Metal Gear Solid story back in.
Oh,
Yeah, put that shit back in there. I don't know where you guys are at. My bad.
Okay, Jeff. So getting you caught up. We're talking about Spider-Man 2 and the most absurd glitch where there's just a little square.
Yeah,
and I was saying,
I got some
as
shit
you
to say,
walked
too.
in, Vactor asked me, have I noticed any glitches as I've been playing? And so I wanted to tell him I have not seen any glitches. My only complaint is design choices. These are purposefully implemented choices in the game, meaning I talked about this a little last week with the balloon situation, but I've been in like Central Park where there are swings where the swings are just, you bump into them, you imagine the swings are going to move, but they're just static set pieces. They don't move.
Oh, wow.
You run into trees. They don't move. You run into like debris on the ground, boxes, something like that. If it doesn't have the L1, R1 little symbol on it, they don't move. And they've been working on this game for years and years. So I'm not a developer. I don't know how hard it is to make the environment interactive. But then I think about Red Dead Redemption 2, for example. Probably the best video game ever made in terms of realism. And it's just night and day. And that that instance comes into my mind specifically because when Spider-Man 1 came out, if you recall, it was within the same month that Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. Those two games came out simultaneously, and I was playing them simultaneously, and that was a
Oh,
big thing I noticed.
Man, has this game had two back-to-back releases with like big games that like recently? You know what I mean? We had Wonder. It had to go up against that. Then wow.
So again, that's not technically a glitch. It's just a design flaw that takes me out of the world sometimes. It's like the whole New York is a set piece rather than an interactive world. But I try not to think about it. So that's my biggest complaint with Spider-Man 2. Otherwise, the game is JeffW's kiss. What about you, Jeff?
Oh man, I'm not playing this game anymore. Actually, probably. So I started my PlayStation the other night, and I was gonna do it, and it fucking put me at the start screen, like the where you choose like the pre-game, like almost like as if I had never played the game before. I'm like, oh, that's weird, like what's happening here? And so I'm digging through and I'm trying to like see if something just didn't sync with that, or like maybe like something goofy happened with the cloud save and I need to download it. I tried for like 30 minutes to try to figure it out, and I have no save files for that game.
Oh,
So I have
man.
like however far we got, I have like 4 hours wasted, and I got to replay the game, which, maybe Vactor, what Vactor should do is he should replay the beginning for me on my account so that he can have an excuse to play it again. And then I can just pick up when, he catches up for me.
What
Were you
part
pretty
how I
far
should
into
do
the
it.
story?
No, I was still at that. This was after we talked last. So I was still like, I was in the gymnasium doing the little sneaky
Yeah.
thing. And then I
You
got,
never finished that.
Norman Osborn, or no. What am I? Big Green Goblin, whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's right.
He
You're
came
right.
down in the helicopter.
Okay,
or
so you did
whatever.
finish it. That's the end of that
Yeah.
level.
And
Okay.
then I was doing whatever. Oh, Miles is doing something right after that. I was going to, there were fireworks going off or something.
Oh, the
and
fireworks
there.
mission that I was talking
the
about.
legendary one. Yeah. That's what I was about to go do.
All right.
It was
Okay.
bullshit. It's a bullshit that I lost my save. I don't even know how that's possible.
But
It's
you weren't that far into
2023.
the
What
game
the fuck?
to begin with, in my
Fuck
opinion.
that. Fuck
Wow. See, this is what we were
Fuck
missing
that.
earlier.
I gotta do Sandman again. I gotta do all that. Fuck.
You hear this guy? I gotta have fun again. I don't want to have fun twice. No.
I also had to redo mine just because I was playing on Jeff's account by accident, and so I was like, oh, I had passed the Sandman, so I played about an hour on Jeff's account, and then I realized I was like, oh, I got to go back on my account. So I have played it twice already, but I'll do it again.
All right. I think your problem's been solved, Jeff.
Oh man.
All right.
Well,
now
whatever
this next
it
story.
takes.
We deleted this next story because you weren't here, and we thought Jeff would have the most fun talking about it. But now that you're back, it's back on the agenda, baby. Tell him, Jeff, or tell him, Vactor.
Well, Jeff's favorite game of all time, Snake Eater, is getting a new glow up, Jeff. On the Xbox, we got a trailer for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which was this remake was announced in May of this year, but all we got were some shots of a swamp and naked Snake coming out of the water. It ain't Solid Snake, but the snake's still solid. So now we actually got a trailer for Snake Eater, Jeff, and I want to know what your thoughts on this remake are, Jeff. What do you think about this glow up?
Yeah, I think it looks good. I think this is kind of the space that Konami needs to exist in when it comes to like these the Metal Gear franchise. Like, unless they were able to somehow have like, I think like, Metal Gear needs like somebody at the head of it, right? Like, I think you need like a pilot to lead the franchise, and they need to be kind of weird like Kojima and do like goofy things. So they don't have that. I don't think Konami has much interest in making games. So all they need to do, I think, if they're going to get me to buy shit, is number one, to re-release them, just like they did this past week. I got that.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's really for like historical purposes. Like, I want if every game I've ever played could be on PC, that'd be fantastic. I'll never have to, get rid of a video game ever, technically or whatever. But I think it looks great, and I think this is where like Konami, they should do this for every one of the games. I would be kind of shocked if we didn't see some kind of Metal Gear Solid, 1 remake or remaster, redo. You have to add a lot. Like I think you're gonna have to make that game a little more meaty, let's say, like with modern controls. Like I think it's just too easy. Like if you go play it now, like I was playing the other day on the stuff a little bit on Steam, and it's just real shitty in terms of controls. Like it's real tough. Like you have to be like, you need to put like an hour into that game before you're used to like the controls and whatever.
That feels like the Resident Evil thing, where the remake like completely revamped the control system.
Yeah, and then like everything's like a tank on that thing. Like you like, it's just hard to control. And then they're still doing like, in Japan, like X doesn't mean select like it does today. So you have to do like selecting everything is circle. It feels like even Nintendo doesn't do that. Even Nintendo on the diamond, the very bottom one, I think they might do that actually on A. I think they're the only ones that do that. Like A is the select.
Yeah,
on the
you gotta
right.
do A on Nintendo.
Yeah. And I can't stand that. Like I hate that we have to. I wish they would just tilt it a little more.
You know how many
those around,
games in Nintendo I've accidentally backed out of because logically the bottom should be the select button, but it's B and it's the back button. I've done that so many times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so the Metal Gear still suffers from that. And the reason I got on PC was I'm hoping for mods, and I'm hoping for customization that like, there's, if you look at stuff online right now, it's getting shit on, the collection is, but having it on PC means that the community like also truly has it. Like you could actually find a better version of the games that are in that collection through an emulator right now, technically, like in terms of having full HD, yada yada. But having all these on PC, and hopefully they update it and give us everything we need, will be the best thing for the franchise. You'll have like, I don't think you've ever been able to play 2 or 3 on the PC without PS3 or PS2 emulation, right. Which is kind of shaky at best sometimes. But anyway, yeah, the trailer looks good. I think it's Unreal Engine 5, I think, right? Did they say that, or is it its own engine? I can't remember on the preview.
They didn't say officially, but they're saying that this opens up the door for Unreal Engine, like remakes.
It was Unreal Engine 5. It's in the trailer. Yeah, so it is. And I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. This opens up Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 remakes, I should say. That's what I meant.
Right.
But this is where I dropped off on Metal Gear, because I saw credits on 1 and 2. And 3, when Snake Eater came out, I was working at Hollywood Video with Rob, and I don't remember exactly why I didn't play it, because I was a huge fan of 2, especially. That was like 1 and 2 I really liked, but 2 I was like all in. I bought the strategy guide. I was playing that game every single day. So I was a huge fan of 2, but this is now going to be my chance to play Snake Eater and see it through to the credits, because I really like the story of Metal Gear, and being able to play it with these updated graphics is going to be great. The original game, if anybody did not know, came out on PlayStation 2 in 2004. So that was almost 20 years ago. Next year it'd be 20 years. Real quick, we still don't know when the release date is. There's no release date yet, and there's no idea of who at Konami is actually working on this. So there's still a little bit of stuff that's up in the air, but a lot of people were saying that, this is just, this is never going to happen. But this trailer is kind of confirmation, like, hey, it's happening, like it's on its way. This looks like it's pretty good.
And in the trailer there, I'm convinced we probably won't have this at the earliest till like the end of next year, I think. I would hope for sooner, but if you look at the trailer and the game like I know it, a bunch of the beginning stuff, like all the stuff with that bridge and everything. That's all the same like set piece. That's all that beginning of the game set piece. There's a couple caves they show that are like boss fight caves, but there's only like really like 3 or 4 environments they actually show here that appear to be like, you know, different parts of the game. A lot of it is the beginning of that game. There's one later game area with like a helicopter and like the little trenchy looking thing on the side of the mountain. That's late game or later game, but not a lot shown. Really, what I want from this, number one, I also want them to. I hope it's a good remake. I hope everything looks good. I hope all the stuff is like, you know, true to the original. You know, whatever. I really hope that they just copy paste the controls from Metal Gear Solid 5 over to this. I mean, it's the best the franchise ever has controlled. It's the best way to play a Metal Gear game. In fact, like I would recommend. I think every Metal Gear game is like essential gaming. Like if like they deserve. Like if you had to go down like if IMDb had a top list of games, like Metal Gear Solid is in like the top 100. Like and I'm saying every single one of them. I think they're
Dang.
like essential playing. I think, you know, they just do different stuff, weird stuff, and everything.
I don't think I've ever heard Rob talk about Metal Gear. Rob, have you ever
He hates
played
it.
a Metal Gear?
I hate it. No. I've never played a Metal Gear game ever
Ooh.
in my life. So this updated trailer, I did give it, you know, the old 1-2. I gave it the old eyeball. And obviously it looks great. Like the way it looks is fantastic. So I'm not disparaging that in any way. I'm not familiar with the gameplay other than stealth. I know what stealth gameplay is like. I've seen the gameplay footage of the previous games a million times. Even Metal Gear Solid 5 I've seen. I just never got into them. And the thing that's really holding me back with even getting into the Metal Gear Solid games is just because I know it is a story-dense game. And having played Death Stranding by our Lord and Savior Kojima, when I started Death Stranding, at the beginning, the opening cutscene, my PlayStation controller turned off.
I remember that.
Oh,
because the cutscene was so long.
yeah.
The controller turned off. And I know that's not necessarily relative to the Metal Gear series, but if the storytelling is like that in Metal Gear and I'm hopping in the middle of it, I feel it's just a little intimidating is really what I'm getting at, and that's really been what's holding me back. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want to play it. It is a game that I am interested in, and I will probably play this when it comes out, but I probably also won't know what's going on when it comes out. So I'm curious. I want Jeff's opinion, actually. For a newbie like myself hopping into Metal Gear and I played this game, like, am I going to have a hard time following that story, you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think the story in general is very difficult to follow. So I think like you're gonna if you jump in anywhere and you're trying to follow that story, I don't think you're gonna have an easy time. But to me, just following what's in the game, like you're gonna be able to follow what's happening in the game. You're just not gonna know. It's kind of like watching let's relate this to movies. If you're watching like Jay and Silent Bob for the first time and you've never seen a Kevin Smith movie, you know, the Strike Back movie, like you're like, why? You don't even understand that Ben Affleck is playing 2 characters. You don't understand like these weird things that are happening in the movie. Technically.
Characters.
Yeah. So like,
what the fuck is the internet?
Yeah. So like, you're gonna run into that where you're like, okay, like how many, like who, like Snake, and then they're gonna keep, but like, you know, it is the beginning of the story. I think it is the earliest that the franchise goes. So technically,
like,
this is the this
like
is the
Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, except doing these first, right? It'd be like if they remade Star Wars and they start with Episode 1, you know, again.
All right.
So you can follow it, I think. And to me, I'm actually sad that Rob has never played a Metal Gear game just because there's so much weird shit in that game. Like there's so many legendary like moments in
All right.
in the Metal Gear games, these weird things that happen. Like, I just think it's I think
What
it's
I
definitely
know
gonna be worth
is
playing.
here's what I
100%.
know is that the whole thing is controlled by a Shiba Inu and at a computer desk. Like that's one thing I know
Yeah.
is that it's all a simulation from a dog.
Well, Rob, there's let's just put it this way. In Metal Gear 3, there's a boss fight that could take you. It could take you, in theory, if you're not good at games and you can't pick up on
Well,
hints.
luckily for me, I'm no Shoff. I am very good at games.
It could the game could take the boss fight, I should say, could take days to complete. And the boss could die of old age if you take long enough in Metal Gear 3. You literally can have that happen. You can fast forward, like on the PlayStation 2, you could start the boss fight, go into system settings, fast forward a week, and the boss would just die of old age in the middle of the fight. Like, that is the kind of like shit that I just feel like everybody needs to experience, because no one has done that since. No one has done weird little things like Kojima does. At one point I remember, the story was he wanted a game that would basically explode when you died. You only got one shot to play the game ever. He that was a thing that he was like, I want to try one time. Like, he's a weirdo, and I love it. So this is like, I think this is obviously I'll play it and I want to see the controls. If you're gonna ever get into a Metal Gear game, I think 5 is obviously the best. Only
I was
from
just gonna ask you that if I should wait to play 3 and then play 5, or if I should play 5.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think 5 is the best game, and I think in terms of controls, like, you're gonna get into it and you're gonna be able to just play it, and there's gonna be fluidity. You're not gonna have to like think about what's happening control wise. So I recommend that game highly to people. It is super good to me.
A quick shout out to our boy Pedro, our number one fan. Now that Tommy's dropped off, and he ranked the Metal Gear games. The other day I was talking to him at work, and he ranked the Metal Gear games for me. He put Snake Eater as his number one best game in the franchise.
No kidding.
That might be my number one as well. I think, like, overall, like, personally, but
here's the real question, Jeff. Should I play Metal Gear Solid 5 or wait, hold on. Is Snake Eater's 3?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay, just making sure. Should I play Snake Eater or Metal Gear Solid 5 before I play Uncharted 2? Or should Uncharted 2 be the first one?
Metal Gear Solid 5 is a way better game. Oh, like,
Metal Gear Solid.
Overall, it's a better game. I like Uncharted 2 as well, but Metal Gear Solid 5 is way better than that fucking game.
Now, but that's not the question. We can debate that later. We're talking.
The question.
Should Rob play it?
Play Metal Gear.
You're saying that should Rob play it first, or because Uncharted would be a less commitment for Rob? Should he play Uncharted first?
No, it's gonna be good. Put this on as a topic for later. What should Rob play first? And you two debate it, because you both are master debaters. All right, excellent. Okay, we're happy you're back, Jeff. This is what the pod was missing while you were gone.
The juice.
All right,
JeffW juice.
We got one more news story.
There's one more story before we close out this week, and it is. Guess what? Thanks, Biden. Fortnite just got more expensive thanks to inflation. Here's the full breakdown.
This is Biden's fault.
Thanks, Obama.
Your V-Bucks used to cost $8 for 1,000. Now they're going to cost $9. They used to cost $20 for 2,800 V-Bucks. Now they're going to cost $23. Used to cost $32 for 5,000. Now they're $37. And then the big boy, if you wanted to buy 13,500 V-Bucks, instead of paying $80, you will now pay $90. So this is all stuff that Jeff and Rob will not be feeling, but I will. Thanks, Biden is going to be coming right down on my head, because when I want to buy Kylo Ren skins, now I'm going to have to pay more money. Thanks a lot.
You like Sleepy Joe.
Now, what's the translation in terms of V-Bucks to product? So 13,000 V-Bucks. What does it get you? Is that a lot? Is that considered a lot?
I think So they do individual skins, and then they also do like accessories, and then they'll bundle them together on
Okay.
the battle pass. They'll show you, okay, this week on sales, Kylo Ren plus his starship plus his backpack plus his pickaxe.
Okay.
So let's say for a skin, maybe 800 V-bucks. For a whole pack of stuff, maybe 1,000 or 1,200 V-bucks. So 13,000, you could get a few skins. You can get quite a few.
This is $90. Come on.
Yes. And the
Now,
game is free.
if your name, I'm just pulling a name out of the hat. I'm making this up so nobody getting offended. If your name was, I don't know, Ben Songer, and this went up $10, like, is this really going to affect your day to day? Because you're already committed to spending the money, right? So this is going to be one less. I don't know.
Well, it's kind of like
whatever.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like everything. Like, hey, when you go to McDonald's now, the Happy Meal is not the same price. Remember when we went to Jack in the Box, Rob, and the breakfast Jack was 99 cents?
Oh,
now
I
you
remember.
go over there, it is no longer 99 cents. The tacos for 2 tacos used to be 99 cents. Now it's like $3. So I think it's the same with everything as far as inflation goes. But I'm gonna be feeling that hit.
Hold on.
Yeah. I think it is. I guess my problem would be like, not my problem, but like, it's tough to be like, because if anything's gonna not feel inflation, I feel like it should be like digital products. It's kind of like
Right.
like Steam. I don't know if you guys ever like remember in the Steam sales or if you ever run into this, but on Steam sales, they'll be like, "Oh, this game is sold out," and you're like, "It's fucking digital." Like, what are you talking about? I know you have a contract with like whatever company that you worked with that they're allowed. You bought this many licenses for this or whatever. Like, I understand that, but at the same time, it's like a tough pill to swallow. Where you're like, oh, really? You sold out on a digital game store? Like, get the fuck out of here! Like,
Right.
So it feels a little bit in the same vein to me, where I'm like, oh, you need to charge $2 extra or extra whatever the hell it is, $10 for like virtual dollars that you're gonna get. Like, I don't know. I get why, but at the same time, it feels a little dirty to me personally.
Well, lucky for us, Jeff, neither of us play Fortnite. And this is a problem that we are not going to have to deal with.
I'm not a
but
nerd.
Until the Solid Snake skin comes out for Fortnite, because Jeff W is gonna be doing Fortnite dances with Snake.
Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm gonna play it. Now, when they come out with the Weird Al skin in Fortnite, then I might be forced to download and play. Weird Al with a gun tearing people down. Now that's what I call video.
I want to see Al do the Dougie.
Yeah, let's see it. All right, that does it for the video game news this week. So it's time to move on to our Let's Play section. Now, we're starting off like we always do, ZELDA Gate 2023. Now, if you guys recall, several weeks ago, around Labor Day, JeffW made a promise. He put his hand on his heart. He put his hand up in the air and he said, I, JeffW, solemnly swear to beat Legend of Zelda by Labor Day. And as you can probably tell, since I am bringing this up right now, he has not. But we're still checking in week to week to see if this is the week. Now, Jeff, did you beat Tears of the Kingdom this week?
No, I was too busy being an elephant. Rob and Mario is what I
thought that was some sort of drinking reference because you were getting smashed last night. I was imagining an elephant with his trunk and a glass of beer going.
I'm talking about Mario.
All right. Well, lucky for me, I never promised that I would beat the game by any particular point because I still haven't. I also have not beat Legend of Zelda.
No. We know the Rob move is, off camera. He's like, he does this. He pulls out the little crossed fingers.
What? I don't do that off camera. I do it on camera. Last week I did it on camera. How dare you? I don't pull ruses like you, Jeff. All right. So this week we're talking Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which came out last week on the Nintendo Switch. The big send-off for the Nintendo Switch, in theory, because we all know sooner or later we're getting a Switch 2, but we're probably not getting very many big original games anymore. We know that the Nintendo Switch is coming out with Super Mario RPG and tons of other remakes or re-releases, but this is
Switch
the brand
2
new.
before Odyssey 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
If
I
we
think
even
so.
get an Odyssey 2, I'm not even positive the next Mario game is going to be an Odyssey game. My prediction is that it's going to be a quote unquote open world game building on Super Mario Bowser's Fury. I believe they're going to take that formula and move on with that is my prediction for the next big Mario game. But
oh man,
that comes from no source of information. That is just off the top of the dome. Sort of like my Zelda rumor that I talked about last week.
And I'll just say right now, if Rob's prediction comes true, I'm gonna be so pissed off.
Why would you be pissed? These are both my predictions.
I want Odyssey 2.
Okay, it'll be Odyssey 2, but it's going to be open world. Is what I'm predicting.
Yeah.
Okay, but Super Mario Wonder came out, so this is a traditional side-scrolling, and I use traditional in quotes because while it is a traditional side-scrolling game, it is a very untraditional Mario Brothers game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've been playing this, not to toot my own horn, but you can see me playing it for the first time on our YouTube channel, Sandbox Gamers Podcast on YouTube. JeffW's been playing this, and Vactor has been vicariously playing it by watching me play it on YouTube. So Jeff and I and Vactor have all played Mario Brothers games. Obviously, I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody out there outside of an infant or a newborn who hasn't played a Super Mario Brothers game these days. But of course, I've been around for Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3, Super Mario World, etc., etc. And so has Jeff. Now, before I toss the mic over to Jeff, I'm going to point out that as of lately, mainly with the new Super Mario Brothers series, I have felt like side-scrolling Mario platformers have gotten stale. I really have not enjoyed the new Super Mario Brothers games on the level as I did Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World when I was a child. Now, I don't know if that's because maybe I'm just getting older and my video game tastes are changing in terms of what I'd like to play. But the difference between Super Mario Wonder versus Super Mario World, per se, or just as an example, really feels like this is the next step in Mario games. The difference between Super Mario Brothers versus Super Mario Brothers 3, or the difference between Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World, I feel like that same difference is here between Super Mario World and Super Mario Wonder. Whereas the new Super Mario games did not have that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the gimmick, what was it? New Super Mario Brothers 2 was, I'm going to collect gold coins, and there's going to be so many gold coins, and that's the idea. You're going to get so many gold coins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and maybe there's a new power up that you can't. You're in a penguin suit and you throw a boomerang. Great, that's the upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't enough for me to fall in love with the games. Not saying that they're bad games per se, but they just weren't for me. And so I am very happy to see a change in the formula for new Super Mario, or this new Super Mario, because it's finally a Mario Brothers game that I am excited to get back into playing, where I'm thinking about it when I'm not playing it. That's what's happening with me in this game. Jeff, give me your impressions from playing this game.
Yeah, I'd say I pretty much mostly agree with you, Rob, and I think this does feel. This is like number one, it feels like a really good Mario game so far. I'm a couple hours in. I got past the first 2 areas, so basically, Bowser is back and he's doing his thing, and then you have to go get these Wonder Seeds, and then the Wonder Seeds knock there's a big, castle in the middle that he's surrounded, or his castle. And each area unlocks a wonder seed or a royal wonder seed that opens up his area, is what I think is going to happen. Obviously, right? Like eventually you'll be in that and you'll be in Bowser's castle. And yeah, I think this is like
Jeff drinking some beer again.
It's like that Missy Elliott song.
Oh, yeah.
Vactor put his thing down, flipped it, and reversed it. Now I'm fucking thrown off. No, so this does feel like a bookend or whatever. This feels like the end of this Switch's life. We're definitely going to see a revision. So I love it so far. This is one of my favorite looking games on the Switch OLED. In Vactor, me and Vactor are sharing a copy of it, and I'm going to hand Vactor my OLED once I'm, pretty much done with it, or at least close to done with it or whatever, so he can play some. But the game looks so good. That is like the Nintendo, that's like the special sauce, that's the cane sauce, the Big Mac sauce or whatever for you guys. It's just that they just make it look so good. It's vibrant. Like this is maybe like in terms of like coloring and everything, like, this is the most vibrant looking Mario game I can like remember. Like everything. And Vactor's playing some of the video here. It all looks like this so far for me. It is very like fun to look at, and I think the gimmicks are pretty good. It's definitely solid. The soundtrack and how much they play into the sound in this game has been maybe my most interesting thing so far. It seems like there's a lot of levels that are, or at least, a good chunk of these levels that are incorporating, music with how you're playing a little more than I think previous Mario games. If you're paying attention to that stuff, the elephant stuff is funny and just fine in the game. I wouldn't say it's like the best Mario gimmick of all time, but to me that's kind of like a slice of one, of the whole pie here. But Rob, like you said, I find myself thinking about this game. Like I've been thinking about it since I've been playing it. Like I haven't even, and maybe that's part of my like Spider-Man like desire to not play it right now, is because I want to play this game so much. But there's things like like the movable pipes in this game, like like that fucked me up on like one of these. There's like a set of levels where they introduce that where you can move these pipes back and forth, and like, man, like I figured it out like later on that level, and then I was like, I couldn't find like a couple extra things, and I was like, fuck, now I gotta like go back and do these. Yeah, and I was like, shit, like this is like, that's what I want from a game. Like that is what, like that means a lot to me for games, to like have me play the thing, and then like midway through it I'm like, oh man, I've like just now discovered my like true power in this thing. Like I can actually go back and get something out of this.
Right.
And man, just everything looks great about this game. I'm honestly like, I wouldn't put these, like, this does feel kind of like a, I think Nintendo's on like a good pattern here. Like you need like an Odyssey, you need the big open world Mario banger that's going to sell consoles. You need the galaxies, but I just love, and I wish we had, more of these like middling games. I would love to see like some wonders like sprinkled in, what we haven't seen Odyssey's been what, like at least 5 years, right? Since that's come out, I think.
Yeah. It's, around the time Civil War came out in theaters, when Super Mario Odyssey came out. And I remembered that, surprisingly. So yeah, it's been quite some time.
Yesterday. It was actually yesterday, October 27th, 2017, when it released. So 6 years.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it feels like it's been forever. And I just feel like, when I think in between this time here, like, I'm like, man, I wish, like, what if we had, like, even if you, obviously, like, my preferred thing would be, like, big Mario game, smaller, more focused, like this Wonder type game, and then another big Mario game. I wish you could, like, go back and forth. But even if you gave me two, like, Wonder type games, in between, big Mario, like, 3D, open world type releases, I would just, I guess that's my only complaint, is I would just want to see more of these, you know, something like this. But I haven't really had many problems. Like, again, up to the like Nintendo standard, you know, this is pretty flawless so far for me. When I've played it, I haven't run into any bugs, anything weird happening to me. The controls obviously feel great. Everything looks great. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think it's just a really good Mario game so far. And I think it's like, if you're gonna like, I think if I were to iterate, like if I had a kid and he was getting into Mario and it was, you know, anytime soon, this might be the one, because I feel like this is not out of their scope to like understand. Like, you're just moving left to right. There's gimmicks and there's, you know, mechanisms in the game, but you're still focused. You know, you're not running around New York like Odyssey, where you're kind of having to figure out like more puzzles and it's a little more involved. But this is like, maybe this feels like the games like I grew up on, or we grew up on, you know, like this feels like something you could, you know, it's like you could hand to your kid and be like, this is now like you're experiencing the thing that I did, you know, or close to, right? But
now,
yeah, I love the game.
From the outside looking in, Vactor, what are your opinions on this?
Yeah, all of the things that Jeff said are what I've been thinking about. I think out of all of us, I am the biggest 2D platforming fan, and I think my love of it comes from Mario. And like Jeff just said, growing up on Mario games, I think those influenced my gaming in a huge way. And I like Odyssey as well. I like having those two different flavors of Mario. And I'd like to see them kind of continue, not abandon either one. But Nintendo, they're doing like Super Mario Maker and Super Mario 99. Like they're doing everything that they can with the Mario franchise. Like they're every type of game. I'm surprised they haven't done more Mario Karts. I'm surprised they've kind of sat on Mario Kart for the most part. But I would like to see them continue with these type of things. And this is exactly what I wanted from that trailer. When we saw the very first trailer for Wonder, I was like, this looks like what I've been wanting. And Rob also mentioned it earlier, not like the Mario entries that we had been getting, where they kind of felt stale and they felt like a little bit old. This feels like the modern version of the Mario formula, that 2D platforming formula, and all of the new introductions, all the power ups are actually fun. And that goes back to those original games we were playing on our NES and our Super NES of, oh, now you got the fire suit, now you got the Tanuki suit,
Right.
now you got this suit, like all those power-ups for us as kids were like, oh, this is great, this is adding something new to the gaming. And that's what, just from seeing the elephant suit, the drill suit, and the bubble suit, all of those things look like, hey, this adds something completely different to the gameplay. And that's what you want. You don't want it to just be a cosmetic thing. It's like, this is, you actually need these abilities in order to pass certain levels. So everything I'm seeing so far, this is right up my alley, and this is what I wanted when I saw that first trailer for Wonder.
Yeah, it's really great. And the super interesting thing about the development of this game, I was reading that the original 5 people who worked on the Super Mario Brothers game on the NES, 4 of those 5 people worked on this game on top of the Nintendo crew. And one thing that I really like what they're doing, because this game obviously feels really different. It has that innovative touch where it feels like it should be the next it feels like it should be the next iteration of a Mario game. Sort of like when Breath of the Wild came out and Tears of the Kingdom, is that they had the overseers come out, but they brought on a brand new crew of developers to give a fresh take to the series, which is why you saw Zelda set in an open world and you saw all these new abilities and new ways to play and really gave it that fresh take. They did the same thing with this game, where they said, we're making a new 2D Mario game. No idea is a bad idea, so let's see what you guys got. And this is what we get. Mario's on drugs. Like, it's essentially Mario is on drugs every level. And every level has a Wonder Seed. Some are harder to find than others, but every level has a
Mhm.
water seed. And I fell victim to the same thing JeffW did with that pipe level.
Yeah.
You can even watch me get frustrated over it on YouTube. You can find that level. I forget which what the name of that particular level is, but that level I have played and is up on YouTube right now. And I went back and played that level I think 4 times in the one video, trying to figure out how to like get everything that I needed in it. So I'm very impressed with it, and I'm finding myself debating during my precious free time when I do have time to play video games, do I want to play Spider-Man 2 right now, or do I want to play Super Mario Brothers? And I'm having that clash, and I want to play both, which is the problem. But it's a good problem to have. I'll just put it that way. So I'm very pleased with this game. This is a very surprising yet not surprising release from Nintendo, because what they do right, they do a lot of stuff wrong, in my opinion, but what they do right is Mario and Zelda, and this does not disappoint. And I'm glad to see that they've course corrected where they've been going with the Mario games. So I'm very, very pleased, and I'm looking forward to getting Vactor's opinion when he does get his hands on the game. So that'll be very nice. But that's Super Mario Wonder for the Nintendo Switch, everybody. And I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Sandbox Gamers podcast. Now, don't turn off the feed yet, because we do have a couple quick things to tell you. First of all, we want to thank JeffW for braving his hangover and being here.
Not hungover. I don't get hungover.
Simply to spite Mark, our friend Mark. That's the always angry JeffW that we come to know and
in
love.
the bathroom.
So.
Get the fuck out of here, Mark. Fuck
what
off.
the listeners can't see is that JeffW's computer is set up in the bathroom right now.
I'm in the kitchen, bitch. If anything.
So thanks, Jeff. We appreciate it. And did you guys know that Vactor has a YouTube channel? It's called the Vactorverse. It's more than just a YouTube channel, actually. You know, it's on TikTok and Instagram and all the places, but Vactor's bread and butter is the Vactorverse on YouTube, where they're talking everything and anything comic book related. Tell them about it, Vactor.
Oh, yeah. In addition to everything comics, we also have Star Wars things. But right now, our focus is on Loki. Bye, Jeff. Right now, our focus is on Loki. And Rob said it in our Discord chat last night. Loki is getting wild, boys. So there's some fantastic stuff that's happening on Loki right now. So we're talking about that every week. But you know what I keep forgetting to mention every time we talk about the Vactorverse? Jeff got a Vactorverse shirt, and you can too. There's a link in the link tree for all of the Vactorverse stuff and merch. But the thing that I keep forgetting to mention,
Jeff's very proud. He's holding up his Vactorverse shirt.
We've now unlocked super thanks on the Vactorverse, so you can now donate. So super thanks are a way to donate and say thank you to show your appreciation on the Vactorverse. They're on shorts, they're on videos. If you go down like where the like button is, there's the super chat. So if we ever decide to do lives on the Vactorverse, you can type in there and leave us a little donation. But it's also on every single video. Super thanks on the videos. I think super chats are on lives and super thanks are on the videos. So if you ever want to help out the Vactorverse, because everything that is donated goes back into the show and upgrading equipment and stuff, you have all of those options now on youtube.com/Vactor.
Excellent. And shout out to JeffW, proudly holding up his Vactorverse shirt this whole time. He was guilted into buying that shirt, and it finally worked.
No. And I wanted to. He loved that design so much. He said, I got to get me one of these
I actually like that. I've got a Vactorverse shirt. I've got the Vactorverse with your face on it, but I also think I'm going to I want that shirt in particular. I'm not a fan of white t-shirts, but that's the beauty of where you buy them.
Yes.
It can come in any color. But I do like that design on that shirt, so I think I might have to get another one. Am I going to be the proud owner of 2 Vactorverse shirts? You bet I am. That's right. I just helped Vactor buy a new microphone or a 6th webcam. Yeah. It's going to be great. Now, speaking of social media, of course, the Sandbox Gamers is all over social media. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, that you know we're here. We're on TikTok, but on TikTok in particular, I want to point out that it's under me, Wonder Rob, at Wonder Rob on TikTok. But it's all the Sandbox Gamers content on TikTok. Otherwise, you can find Sandbox Gamers on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. Just search Sandbox Gamers Podcast, and you'll find us there. Or just follow the link tree in the show notes, linktree/Sandbox Gamers Podcast, and you'll find all the links. And I deleted the Twitter a million years ago. So Elon, Mr. Billionaire Boy. And I point that out because I think the Twitter link is still on the link tree. But it's dead, so don't click it. Don't give Elon any attention. All right, so that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with more video games, more news, more JeffW antics. So until then, GG, everybody. GG.
GG.